Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is sensorality? What does sensorality stabilize? So now we've established that E, the sound, is the base of language for a variety of different empirical reasons. And so when we're looking for this stabilizing iteration of syllability, this sequence, this theorem, this sentence that shows exactly what sensorality is by saying showing the syllability iterating into an undeniable, well-defined word form, and it will reduce and complete the syllability of sensorality. In the same way, speciality is special with an ITY. It's directly, literally true. We are progressing our linguistics to that amount of directness. But we're kind of getting to this, right? We have our pieces of what our specific solution looks like, right? It is what it is the form of all language. It's overwhelmingly apparent. But we have E as the base. We have this relationship with the sound and or at least the letter of A being an inverse. You can see the geometry looking like the infinity sign. So we have a base, and now we're kind of in this framework where linguistics, mathematics, and physics is all the same thing, right? We have, whether you're in math class and you have a base and you're going to operate on that base and call it a function and produce an output, whether you're in physics and you have something you're starting with, a base, and it's going to evolve, the physical system is going to progress and change, or linguistics, right, this relationship of base, right? Anytime at this point, now you see basis, literally conceptually think basics. Because this containment statement in my paper, if you actually read that for whatever reason at this point, you'll see the containment statement of VIT. But just basically, right, in the same way we have a one-to-many counting system to reflect these physical phase changes represented by the specific form of the dynamic limit, the Fibonacci sequence, and the base E of the natural log. What was I saying linguistically? Kind of lost my train of thought there. But regardless, we have these proven ingredients of what of our progression, we're looking for this fundamental stabilizing iteration of syllability. Well, now we have a base E, we have a relationship with the letter A, we have this fundamental stability of 2, we have these different numeric limits, abased, A, B, A, C, E, D. It's just the first 5 elements of the English alphabet. So kind of our pieces are coming together to show this unique, chronologically dependent, right, in physics class, our time-independent evolution of the wave function. There is no time independence. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. Chronology exists, things take time to change, everything is unique, right? Each mean free path is unique, right? The life you live is different than the life I live. That ant over there is living, sentient, breathing, metabolizing, living a different life. Everything is unique. And so we continue on. But we have kind of, again, our form of our specific solution coming together, or specific resolution, right? What is sensorality? What is a sensor? Basing stabilizes. What is sensorality the base of? Again, ultimately just progressing logic one foot after the other and answering. Because I've used the verbiage even, we're trying to find the right question to ask. We're not trying to do anything. We're just taking one foot in front of the next and then answering any question that we can do by this production of syllability, these letters to these sounds. Sensorality is censoring. Sensorality is sonality, so ring. And so, right, basics contains the word basis. So ring is 2 complete words, so we just add spaces, and it's this aspect, this manifestation of irreducibility. Physically, all of these compound words, you just add a space, and it's clear what the base words are, I guess. I mean, it's directly literal. Sorality is sonality. Again, definitely come across that one multiple times, emphasizing again the R to the N relationship, and the difference, again, the fundamental difference of this syllability geometrically is the O to the A and the E to the A. So now we have that relationship of the E to the A for that sonality. But just what's the relationship of E to O or A to O or all of the different vowel combinations? Base is basicality. And so now, again, back to this intuition where I'm sure everyone's seen the word forms, where you have bass, like if you're at a music venue, B-A-S-S, and then bass, where we're using right now, B-A-S-E. And so B-A-S-S is basicality, sensorality is basicality, faciality is basic. All right, a logical renormalization, what is sensorality? Faciality, like facial with an I-T-Y. Vowels are bass, B-A-S-S. Bass resonates. And that's back to, again, when you're vocalizing something, you try to raise your voice so somebody can hear you. If you're at a venue and the background noise is just loud, it's very basic, right? There's a lot of sound. And so resonance to bass, where it's like you have to resolve your vocal quality so people can hear you. That's the consonants part, because your vibration will... Everyone like naturally speaks in perfect pitch. Even if you've not trained your vocal cords to have, you wouldn't self-identify as having perfect pitch, pretty much everybody does. If you hear the tone A, the tone E, you're going to be able to mimic that naturally. And the people that can sing have just trained their vocal cords to do that better. But point being is that's the bass. And then the differentiation is the consonants, the breaking of that vibration. So that's why when you're at a really loud music venue, you kind of feel like you're raising your voice, but you're still like matching the background vibration decibel level. And it's just the consonants, which is like different. Everyone's been in a loud environment. You know exactly what I'm talking about intuitively. What is speciality to faciality, right? How do faces manifest for species, right? Of all of the anatomical differences among species, faces are like one of the least different parts. Again, it's some sort of physical limit. Does all sentience have a face? No. Is it extremely prevalent to anything exposed to a star? Yes. Moving along. What is financial to facial? Again, clear, relating the structure, the syllability, the structure of the words and the sound. But we have saving face is some intuition I had here. Whereas again, just throughout history, if you look like what's the overall arching like theme of history? Saving face. Again, it's a historical terminology that's been present throughout. And it's true. People don't like to feel embarrassed. No matter what abomination, egregious action happens, people like, the thing that people really care about the most is like not looking stupid, which is just the most pedantic, petulant, childish thing in the world, but it's human behavior. Life smells. Feces smells. Sensorality is fecality. Facial, feces. Sensorality defecates. Sensorality defaces. And so now, right, with this base E, we're clearly shown we've established this irreducibility for base words. That's all of your conjugation. You go learn a foreign language, right? You don't change the base. That's the irreducibility, association of sound to meaning. But then we have this prefix and suffix. Fluency is influential, directly spells out the word fluent with prefix and suffix. So what do we say? What analysis can we have about our prefix and suffix? Well, right, destabilize, renormalize. They're all based on E. Now we know why. Just wanted to emphasize that. Announcement is a noun, and that is a direct natural definition. Right? Conceptually, announcement is a noun, like a word form of a noun, yes. And then literally the word is built on announcement, on noun. So that's a natural definition. Sensorality announces. Sensorality is announcing. And so now this is sensorality, then sensorality is announcing, and then you just remove some of the syllability. Sensorality is nouning. And now emphasizing this because clearly, again, we're talking about this chronology of what is the motivation for putting ing at the end of the word. Clearly everybody does it. Google ing. You take a noun, it becomes a verb, but chronologically, for completeness, we need the motivation as to what comes first, why. Our base is E. Right? A is the first letter of the alphabet, which we've never really gotten explanation for as to why, but we're just born into this world with structure. And so we have this relationship, the base E, right, is basis, base is first. Again, on a personal level, clearly I just, basis and base, I still kind of, it's all unique chronological syllability thing. But sensorality is noun ing, right? To verbize something, to make something a verb, you put ing at it. And noun-ing, right? It's this fundamental paradox thing of like noun is not a verb, but noun-ing is. Sensorality is nouning. And so like that's like, if we have like rather this like fundamental, like I just need to flip something. So there's some part of this inversion linguistically is like we're like right at that doorstep. Continuing on. Sensorality is sounding. Orality sounds. Orating is speaking. Orality speaks. Sensorality outpaces. I did want to say for orality speaks, like kind of the intuition there is kind of getting close to what free speech is, I guess. But orality, oration relating to speaking. But still, again, it's just one of those word forms, or what is a phrase, a terminology, but free speech is just the dichotomy, the juxtaposition. Juxtaposition is when we compare and contrast two things. Dichotomy is inherent to all things. So you're juxtaposing the dichotomy. We had a whole episode titled that. But sensorality outpaces, sensorality paces out. And so don't you see outpaces sounds like this velocity, like you're going faster, but then it says sensorality paces out, like he's 6 paces out, he's 6 clicks out. It's like a distance measurement. Again, what is a pace to a light year? Sensorality pieces out. Peace out, bro. How does quantum field theory predict directly? When you say peace, you put up the number 2 because it's the last stabilized dynamic. So you're throwing up a symbol to represent stability. Hey man, stability is peaceful. I'm not going to do some random shit. Peace. Sensorality pieces out. So obviously, again, not only is this framework more comprehensive than everything you've ever seen, it's complete. Like it's not just 99.999% comprehensive to our logical structure, it's 100%. Speciality is special with an ITY. If for whatever reason I were not to finish this proof, this whole process is that step 1 was that. But sensorality pieces out. Sensorality is base case. And then emphasizing peace is pace with an E in there. A facility is an apparatus. Sensorality is facilitality. Again, I've said it a bunch, but re-emphasizing, shout out to all of the kids in the Columbus dioceses that said faculties for facilities. It's a classic mix-up. Infinitesimality is irreducible. And so now again, when you see the word infinitesimal, so I just took that word directly as it was spelled and put ITY at the end because it's correct, but the logical framework is infinitesimality. If you generalize that, it's infinitesimality. But for whatever reason, the operative word, right, in the same way you have ability, but you never say abilitality or something. It's one of those word forms like the irreducibility, the infinitesimality is literally physically the infinitesimal, which is the electron. That is our smallest thing that we can interact with without discerning internal structure, as proven by the progression of physics. But for the word form, right, infinitesimality is always what goes through my head, and that's infinitesimal is derivative from that. Market's opening up. Oh, nice, made a couple $100. Sweet. Shorted CF yesterday. I'll do another economics thing here in a second. But the infinitesimal, right, mathematical ontology, that's the smallest thing. And people really don't even like get what that is. That is the physical irreducibility manifested in mathematics. You can't break this thing down anymore. And then there's derivation, right? Chronology ensures uniqueness. And so derivation and integration, nothing is one-to-one. Isomorphisms don't exist, bijections don't exist. And so very intuitively, derivation's a lot more natural than integration. You have something, you make conclusions from this thing. The thing we are using is everything, the universe. But then integration conceptually is like you're putting little pieces together. We're adding up all of the infinitesimals in math class. And so some aspects of the dichotomy or again, I don't even want to say dichotomy, but the inversion or the reciprocality of derivation and integration is more nuanced, again, because of chronology. Nothing is one-to-one. And so, that's what I want to say for now. But infinitesimality is irreducible. the infinitesimal is the universal minimum. The size of the electron is the same here, even though we can't interact with the unobservable universe, which is a defined, well-defined physical limit, right? Our infinitesimality limit, our information is always growing, right? There's always information coming in. The slowest it can come in is, right, everything is the inverse of the speed of light. The maximum is the speed of light. And so that data set, that knowledge is always growing, but it's limited. That's infinitesimality. And intuitively, that's what people are really talking about when they say the word infinity. But the infinitesimal physically is the electron, right? So even though we can't have there's truly a physical bound of the things we can interact with, we're pretty certain that the electron's still the electron over there. It's the universal minimum. And so for mathematical completeness, again, we're demonstrating the entire logical structure. So we can't, even though we're 99.9999% sure the electron's the electron everywhere, we're demonstrating the limits of provability, of things that you can establish as true. Again, what Kurt Gödel did, being called the incompleteness theorem, is just like, it's like going down to your local ice rink and meeting Wayne Gretzky and thinking your kid plays hockey because he knows how to tie his ice skates. It's like, wow, we have a lot to learn, boys and girls. And so the infinitesimal is the universal minimum. Physically, it's directly the electron. Polarity is dichotomistic. And so this internal, again, why the electron has negative charge and why the proton has positive charge is some sort of, again, all internal structure stabilizing, and then you just have an outward shell or something to that effect. I don't know if we can physically discern that, but there's certainly internal structure to the electron. Because this fundamental stability of 2 is irreducible in all physical things. That is why we have this 1-to-many counting systems everywhere. Sensorality is spacey. Sensorality spaces out. Spaces senses. Sensorality senses space. So we continue to progress along. Again, one foot in front of the other, we're directly developing a physical definition. What is sensorality? It has to be consistent with all other ontology out there, and then we have to prove it. Granted, at this point, you've never seen mathematical. Again, I don't even say mathematical. I say that buzzword to make you guys think, ooh, mathematical proofing, because I don't know what proof is. Proof is proof. Completeness is completeness, and that is a demonstrable thing within linguistics. But just taking one step forward, getting our definition, but we still haven't proven, we haven't finalized the definition, and that comes from the complete reduction of the syllability, which is what we're working through now. My rights continue to be violated. I continue to emphasize my life quality is objectively literally zero. I try to present my information in a way that's going to be preserved for a long time, because this is the only known derivation of a physical axiom besides the other time I did it. But it's truly torture. And so I continue to beg for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and work. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.